welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be sharing an overview and my thoughts of the new Urban Decay Naked Cherry Collection. So I did receive this collection in PR. I got this ginormous cherry in the mail filled with all the items, so I'm super excited to kind of give you the rundown about all the products. I actually have a little giveaway for you guys too as well. I'll stay tuned, I will get to that. But I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the palette. I'm gonna show some swatches, and I have some comparisons and things. So I have lots of thoughts. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Actually, really quickly, before we get into all that, I do just want to mention really quickly my hair. I'm sure some of you guys are going to notice that it is red. I did dye it this red color in honor of the Naked Cherry Collection. I wanted it to be red for these videos, but it is just temporary. I've used these before, but these are the Joico Color Butters, and they're just temporary dyes. I have this red one. I have a purple one that I've used before and showcased in a video a couple months back, I think in the summer. I also have a pink one that I haven't used yet, but these are so much fun. I purchased these myself. This is not sponsored whatsoever. But I think they're so much fun, and like I said, they're temporary, so they only last for about 10 washes, which is actually a decent amount of time, and they work really well for those who have, if you have blonde hair, these are going to work well for you, or if you have dyed your hair blonde, these will work well for you. If you have dark hair, these won't really work, and they're not really meant for someone with dark hair. But I do have some blonde in my hair that has grown out, so it attaches really well to that color, but as you can see, nothing up here. Of course, I didn't really bring it up that high because I know it doesn't work that well, but I brought it up to like in the darkness of my hair, and you can see it only really shows up in the blonde area. So anyways, I just want to let you guys know that this is temporary. It was just for fun, and I love how it looks. I don't know if any of you guys remember, but I used to, a couple years ago, have black hair, and it was ombre with red like this. And I kind of miss those days. I miss my red hair. So much fun. But it's nice just to be able to do something fun that's temporary. Anyways, that is enough of that rabbit trail right there. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you guys a rundown of everything that's in this collection, and I will go into sharing my thoughts on everything. Most of everything's going to be pretty brief, of course, except for the palette, which will have a little bit more thoughts to share. I will also do some swatches, so that'll be the last thing. But I do want to tell you everything that is in this collection, and the first couple of things I actually will not be able to have a thoughts or review on because I haven't used them, I haven't touched them. I decided that they would probably get some better use if I did a giveaway with them. So the first item is the Naked Cherry Highlighter Palette. Actually, it's a blush and highlighter palette. You are getting the blush in the center and then 2 highlights. I did take a peek at it and film a little close-up of it so you guys can see kind of what it looks like. This is actually so cute. The packaging is so adorable, and I was super tempted to keep it because just for the fact that it's cute, and I love the packaging. But the thing is, I have so many blushes, so many highlights. I really do not need another one. Most likely this would not get the love that it totally deserves. So this is one of the giveaway items. Now this is a $34 palette. It does look super beautiful. I really like the shades, and that like lighter white highlight looks so gorgeous. It almost looks like it's kind of gonna be like an iridescent, give like a shifty look to it. It looks super pretty. But I definitely don't need to keep it, and I'm really excited for whoever is going to win it. Next up, there are 3 brand new limited edition Vice lipsticks. Now the Vice lipsticks, I believe, are $18. Yep, they're $18, and I already really know that I like the Vice lipstick formula. I think they're beautiful, but if you guys know me, you know that I hardly ever wear lipsticks at all. I'm much more of a gloss girl, so while I do think these shades are actually so gorgeous and colors that really speak to me, I just know I won't use them. They won't get the love that they deserve. So these are another item that are going in the giveaway. There are 3 new shades, as I said, and the shades here are Juicy, which is a light peachy pink with copper micro shimmer. Then you'll get Devilish, which is a berry pink with tonal micro shimmer. And then lastly is the shade Cherry, which is a deep berry wine. These are beautiful. I did not open them up except for one I kind of opened up from the bottom just to be able to show you guys the packaging. packaging, but I did not open up the tubes or anything because I don't want to touch these or mess them up at all for whoever gets these. But I wanted to be able to show you the packaging on it. Again, this is another item that I almost wanted to keep just because of the packaging, because they're so cute, and the fact that they're limited edition just makes them that much more, like, I think, craveable. They're beautiful packaging, but again, I know I won't reach for them, so I really want someone who will enjoy them to win them. And the rest of the items I am keeping. I have tried, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute, but if you are interested in winning the highlighter palette and the lipsticks, check the description box. I will have all the information down there how you can enter. Also, please be sure to stay tuned because there will be entries now, but I'm also going to add a few entries later once I put a few more videos up concerning this collection, so there'll be more entries, so be sure to come back and check the giveaway for more entry options. Moving on, next up in the collection is the all-nighter setting spray. It is a travel size, and this one is cherry scented. Now, I do think that is super neat. The packaging is really cute. This is a $15 product, and you guys already know I really like the Urban Decay all-nighter setting spray. It is one of the best. I mean, it's a classic cult favorite for a reason, and the fact that it is now a cherry scented, I mean, that is a bonus unless you're someone who doesn't care for scents. But I will say that the scent isn't like it's not overwhelming. So those who maybe don't like a lot of scents, it's not super overpowering or overwhelming. For me, I thought it was okay. It wasn't, I was expecting it to be like, oh my gosh, like so scented so you could really smell that cherry scent, but it's actually pretty faint in my opinion. It's really not that different from the regular setting spray in my opinion. So it's just like one of those items that's like, it's cool that it's scented, but it doesn't super like up the like wow factor for me, because it's not like, I don't know, the scent was just like, I was expecting it to be a little bit better. I don't know. I was expecting this to be a little bit more scented than it was, so that may be a good thing for some of you, and that may just be like a whatever thing to some of you like me. I think this is really cute. I love that they did a scented setting spray, but it was like it was okay. Secondly, I do have this weird thing, like I love, okay, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent for a minute. Weirdly enough, I love like cherry flavored things like candy and things like that, but I really actually do not like cherry scents that much, especially like that kind of black cherry scent, because it always really reminds me of like porta potties. And a lot of people, when I say this, they're like look at me like it's so weird, but I'm like, if you've ever been into like a porta potty, like I think that's like the scent they put in there, you know, when they clean them, or when they are clean, they start out with this like black cherry scent or fragrance, but then, you know, as it's used, you know, you start getting a mix of not so pleasant scents with this cherry scent, and for some reason that kind of always triggers for me. When I smell a black cherry scent or a cherry scent, it kind of triggers the memory of a porta potty scent. It is not that pleasant. So cherry scents are not my favorite for that reason. That being said, this doesn't super remind me of that actually, so that's probably a good thing for me because it's not as strong as other cherry scents or fragrances. So I don't know, just sorry, weird tangent. So anyways, I do really like this a lot. I mean, I already like the all-nighter setting spray. The cherry scent is just like, there's really nothing different. That's the only thing different about it that I think is kind of neat. I do like that they did that, but I don't know, I'm weird. So next up in the collection, there are two new 24/7 Glide On eye pencils. These are $21 each, and I love the Glide On eye pencils now. I will just say, like, do you need to spend $21 on an eyeliner pencil? No, you probably don't. There are some really great ones at the drugstore, like the Rimmel London Scandalized ones are some of my favorite. But do I love these ones from Urban Decay? I do, and I use them quite regularly, and I think these are really nice shades. I did use this burgundy one, the Love Drug shade, in my waterline today, and it's super pretty, so I like these a lot. If you are okay with spending that kind of money, I would recommend these. I think they're great pencils, but they're not like must-haves, I guess. Now I'm sure what you guys have all been waiting for, the Naked Cherry palette. Now I actually have a lot of thoughts, a lot of things to say about this. Hopefully I can keep myself on track and organized. So the first thing I want to talk about concerning this palette is the price. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed or had noticed, this palette is only $49. And I thought, wow, that's really awesome. It's a little bit cheaper than the other Naked palettes. Not by much, it's like a $5 difference, but still sometimes that makes it just a little bit more affordable when you're looking at under $50 compared to over $50, and it kind of like might sway you a little bit. I'm one of those people, I will admit. But anyways, then I was thinking, well, I wonder why they, you know, dropped the price a little bit. And instantly I thought, well, we're probably getting less shadows. And usually I'm not the type of person who goes into like grams and ounces and things like that when it comes to palettes, because honestly, I don't care. I mean, I know there's some of you guys who do, especially if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck and things like that. You want to get good quality plus, you know, good amount of product, good price, things like that. But I have so much product, so much makeup, I will never finish it up. So I'm not mad about getting less product, or if ever that's the case. But anyways, I just found interesting information and figured I would relay that for you guys. And so you do in fact get less eyeshadow product in the Naked Cherry palette. I'm just gonna read. I have all the other, except for the Naked Smoky, I think that's the only one I don't have, but all the other Naked palettes, and I checked all of the ones that I have. So Naked 1, or the Naked Original, 2, 3, and then the Naked Heat palette. And all of them say that they have, let me find it again, they have 1.3 grams per shadow, or 0.05 ounces. That's on all the previous Naked palettes. And the Naked Cherry palette has 1.1 grams, or 0.038 ounces per shadow. So you are getting less shadows. I don't know if that bothers anyone. It doesn't necessarily bother me, because I just don't, I mean, how often do we genuinely pan or use up an eyeshadow palette? There's probably a lot of you who do, but I feel like the majority of people don't necessarily always pan of complete eyeshadow palette. It's so hard to do. I've only hit pan on like, I think maybe 3 shadows in my entire life. So, and they were like that kind of a nude shade like that you use all the time kind of a thing. So anyways, that may be a factor for some people. It's not necessarily a bad factor for me, but I just want to put that out there for you guys. But I personally kind of like that it's a little bit cheaper of a price. I don't mind getting a little bit less shadow. All right, next up I want to talk about the quality of this palette. Now, I do kind of feel like my last couple of videos concerning Urban Decay products, because I am on their PR list, I do get almost all of the launches, not all of them, but almost all of them. And I feel like the last couple of videos I've done of the new launches from Urban Decay have not been quite favorable, let's just say that. They have not been bad, because it's not like they're terrible products, but there have been things that I'm like, this is nice, but it's not like great. It's not, you know, whatever it is. And you can look back in any of those videos to see what I mean. There's always been something that was kind of like, about it for me. But this one, I am so impressed with. I'm so loving, I will just say. Let me just say this, I don't know if I said this yet, but this is, I believe, the second week I've had this. All of last week, I spent all of last week creating different looks with this palette. I've shared them on my Instagram page, so I'll link that. And then I did this tutorial today using the Naked Cherry palette, and in that video, that will be up later, I will put all the pictures of the looks that I've done, but you could also just check my Instagram for them. Anyway, so I've been playing with this palette. I've been creating all kinds of looks with it just to really kind of gather my thoughts and opinions on this palette. And the quality, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's different. I actually meant to do this and I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to see if like the ingredients were different or something changed. But I feel like the quality of this is so good and much better than I'm remembering from previous Naked palettes. Now, I'm going to kind of side tangent, but it kind of ties in. Let me just say really quick, the Born to Run palette, I loved that, and I loved that formula. And so that's kind of an exception. But whenever I think of the Naked, specifically the Naked palettes, I feel like they're just a different formula than like their Vice palettes or their holiday palettes and things like that. They're just different, and they've never really been my favorite formula. I don't know, there's something about them, they were just like, it's just okay, or just not my preference. And I expected it to be the exact same thing with this one, but I feel like this one's different. This reminds me a lot more of the formula of the Born to Run palette. And I swear, if I don't know if it's just a mind thing, I don't know if there truly is difference in formula or what, but to me it does seem different, and it does seem so much better. So I actually like this so much more than I thought I would. I was kind of expecting to like, because I think the shades are pretty, and I'll talk about the shades in a minute, but I was expecting it to be like that Naked palette formula that I just don't really care for. But this actually surprised me, and I really ended up liking this palette a lot more than I thought I would. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. I feel like they're just so blendable, so easy to use. I think my issue with Naked palettes in the past is that they're just so hard pressed that they're not the easiest to work with. While the mattes are pretty good, the shimmers, especially the metallic shades, are just so hard pressed that they're just kind of a pain to work with. I've never really been quite a fan of them, but these shadows in this palette are just a little bit softer, a little bit easier to work with. Something about them is just, I feel like the quality has stepped up a notch, and I'm here for it. I love it. The mattes blend beautifully. Don't have any issues with patchiness. They're very pigmented. The metallic shades are actually really great, really pigmented. There are a couple shades in here that I do feel like they do require some setting spray or maybe a sticky base to really adhere. The shade I'm wearing on my lid specifically is the main one that I feel like really needs that, and that's the shade Bang Bang. It's a stunning shade. You'll see it up close later, but that one does need a little bit of help, but the rest of them actually go on pretty well on their own without any help or setting spray. I do always like to still put setting spray with it just to really get, you know, metallic shades to pop, but aside from that, they actually really do apply so well. I don't know, I'm just really impressed with it, more so than I thought I would. So there is that. Alright, now I did want to touch on the shade selection. I have a few things on my phone that I am going to be reading because it's kind of based on some other people's thoughts and opinions, and then my thoughts kind of in response to other people's thoughts and opinions. So the shades you could see it's pretty like neutral or basic, if you will, and I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed in that, and I'm just going to kind of go to my phone right now just to look at the screenshots that I have, and I actually have this like picture I'm just going to briefly show real quick that someone had posted in the makeup group What's Up and Makeup, and I feel like I heard this a lot. This is just someone who had posted a picture of a redesign of what they thought the Naked palette, the Naked Cherry palette should have been, and then I have a response to it, but I don't want to show it just in case because this is this girl's idea. I'm gonna maybe look and see if maybe she has some kind of YouTube channel or Instagram page or anything, so I can give her some credit, or maybe reach out to her and see if I can share this with you guys. But she created a really beautiful looking palette. But anyways, I'm using her as an example because this is one that I saw and then I had replied to him to share that. But that being said, I feel like I saw this kind of comment a lot before the Naked Cherry launched, when we were just learning that they were coming out with it, and there was kind of creating some buzz about it, but there was a lot of people who were like kind of disappointed in it, kind of like they were expecting something different concerning a cherry palette. So I'm just gonna read this girl's comment here, and then I'll read my response, because I feel like this kind of answers that question. So if you're someone who kind of felt the same way, like disappointed, like this is a cherry palette, like this is kind of my response to that. So she said, my Naked Cherry redesign. The original was pretty, but I totally thought something named Cherry would have a bit more pop. What are your guys' thoughts on the release? And so she created this really pretty looking palette. I think like if this were just a normal cherry palette, oh my gosh, this girl is totally onto something. It looks beautiful. I think she did a really amazing job. Her name is Taylor. And I want to try to credit her if I can. But anyways, my response, and I just screenshot it, not in a way to call her out, but just because I want to remember my thoughts, because this was before I had the palette, and these were just my initial thoughts on you know, the shades and things like that. And I wrote, this is gorgeous and totally my idea of a cherry palette, in response to her picture. Like, I totally agree, that is a cherry palette and it's stunning. But I wrote, as for the Urban Decay palette, you got to remember this is the Naked Cherry palette. I honestly don't think any of the Naked palettes will have real pops of color. Urban Decay does so many other fun, colorful palettes, but their Naked series will always be their safe color palette. So that's the reason why, like, I feel like I'm not disappointed in the color selection in this Naked palette, because this is a Naked palette. I think we all have to understand that, like, if it were like a Vice palette, or if it were a holiday palette, and it was just this kind of more basic neutral shades, yes, that would, I feel like we'd have more right to be like disappointed. Like, what are they thinking? How is this a cherry palette without greens, without more red, without whatever? And the thing is, it's like, well, this is a Naked palette. Of course, in their Naked series, it's gonna be their like naked neutral tones, and this one just happens to be leaning a little bit more cherry. And that's kind of the other thing, is I think a lot of people were thinking, well, cherry, this doesn't even have any red shades in there. And that's the other thing that I wanted to say, and I do think I have some screenshots here that I might read, but is that this kind of more so should have been like the Naked Black Cherry. I know that's kind of like hard, maybe too much of a name, but I just think like this wasn't necessarily a Naked actual cherry palette. It's more so a black cherry. Like, if you look at the cherry, the big package they sent me, it is a black cherry shade, which black cherries are more of that like blackened dark burgundy red kind of a shade. It's not a true like cherry red, and I don't think this is what this was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a true cherry red palette. It was supposed to be more of a black cherry palette, and so that's kind of like my thoughts on that and how I've always kind of looked at it. Because even if you look at the packaging, everything like is that these are black cherries, these aren't regular cherries, and so that's why for me it's not a disappointment, because I kind of just understood what it was. All right, now here are some comments from that same group, What's Up in Makeup on Facebook. It's not from the same post, but when I had created a look, when I got this palette, I was kind of excited about it. I want to share my photos, and so I posted my photos and my first impressions thoughts in the What's Up in Makeup group, and there were a lot of really amazing sweet comments, but there were also some comments that I just thought would be nice to kind of mention here, just because I feel like there are thoughts maybe and even questions that you guys might have, and I felt like there was some good conversation and answers there, so I'm just going to read them, so in case you have the same thoughts, this kind of maybe can answer and give you information for anything you might be thinking that might have been similar. So one of the comments I got was this: I really like it too, but I wish they would have included a red shade of some sort. Your look is beautiful, by the way, which is really sweet. So my reply back was, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of strange that there's no real red with it being a cherry palette, but I think they were more going for that black cherry as an inspo rather than the red cherry. And then I said, even the case they sent it to me was that black cherry color, which is kind of what I already just mentioned previously to this. It's like that black cherry container that they sent me. I really think that's what they were going for. Another comment I got said, question about the cherry palette. Is it overall more pink or more red? I haven't seen it in person. I keep debating on ordering it. Thanks in advance. So I wrote, it's more pink and burgundy, no real red in it. I'd say it's more of a black cherry palette than a regular cherry red palette. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself. And she wrote back, thanks for the info. I think I like pinks, but not so much reds and burgundies, so maybe it's a good thing I haven't ordered it. Question mark. And I wrote, well, it's a very neutral palette. It is a Naked palette after all. So it's got two pinks, two burgundy shades, some peachy shades actually, a couple creamy shades, and some browns. I think if you're looking for pink from Urban Decay, you might want to go for the Backtalk palette. And so I'm actually have some things to say about that as well, because that kind of just came to my mind when I was writing that to her. I was like, oh, I remembered the Backtalk palette is a pretty like pinky mauvey tone palette, and so that's why I was like, I recommend that to her. And when after I said that, I had some wheels turning, so we're gonna get back to that in a minute. I have another comment concerning the Backtalk as well. And so another comment that I got from somebody else said, you're insanely gorgeous, so that helps, which was like so sweet. But she said, I won't be buying the palette. So many of the same colors in my collection. Love pinks and purples, but lovely work and it suits you. And I just replied back, thank you so much. I said, yeah, the palette isn't super unique in the way of colors. It actually really reminded me of the Urban Decay Backtalk palette. And then I said, next look I do, I want to use one palette on each eye and see how similar they are. And she wrote back that would be really interesting to watch. And I said, good to know, because I originally was just going to, because I've been, like I said, the last week have been creating looks every day with it. And I just thought, you know, and just taking photos, not filming anything. I just thought, well, the next look I do, I'm going to try to do one on one eye and one on the other eye. And I was just going to do the look, like just to test it out, take some pictures and see what I think. Well, that day I actually ended up deciding to just film it. I had a little bit of extra time to sit down and film. So I went ahead and filmed a video using the Backtalk palette on one eye and the cherry palette on the other eye. And the results were interesting. And so I kind of just want to leave it at that. I don't want to totally give it away. That video will be up after this one, so you'll be able to watch it. I will just say though, if you already have the Backtalk palette and you've been considering the cherry palette, you might want to wait till I put that video up and watch it before you fully make up your mind or make any decisions on what you're gonna purchase. So with that being said, we're gonna move into the swatches. Alright, so up first we have Hot Spot, which is an ivory matte shade. Then we have Caution, which is a soft neutral beige matte shade. And then we have Bang Bang. This is a shimmering pink with a gold shift and iridescent micro sparkle. Bang Bang is absolutely stunning, you guys. It's so beautiful. I don't know if you guys can really see if this is capturing how stunning it is, but it's super pretty. That being said though, this one is the probably in my experience the one that's the most difficult to work with. And I don't mean difficult like it's terrible to work with, but just like this one definitely needs a little bit of help with some setting spray to really show up that beautiful pigmentation. Otherwise it applies a little bit more sheer. Alright, next up we have the shade Feels, which is a soft, dusty rose matte shade. Then we have Juicy, a soft, warm peach matte shade. And then Turn On, which is a pale metallic rose shimmer. All of these are so pretty, and it's actually like, I was kind of really surprised that there were some such peachy shades in this palette, which I think is really cool. It kind of makes it even more versatile in my opinion. Next up we have the shade Ambitious, which is a metallic rose copper. Oh my goodness, you guys, this one is so beautiful. I really love this shade, and you can just see how creamy it is. It just goes on so opaque and pigmented. So beautiful. Next up is the shade Bing, which is a deep mauve matte shade. And then we have the shade Devilish, which is a reddish plum matte shade. All of these are totally shades that I just love. I love these tones. This last set is totally your like chocolate covered cherries trio. Anyway, so last up we have the shade Young Love, which is a metallic cranberry shade. Then Drunk Dial, which is a deep metallic burgundy. And I don't really see this one as burgundy much. I feel like it's more brown than burgundy, but that's how it's described. And then lastly we have Privacy, which is a deep brownish plum matte. Again, I find this to be a little bit more brown than plum or purple or even red tone, but it probably has that red kind of like undertone to it, or plummy undertone to it, and that's probably why they get that description. But either way, they're all pigmented and beautiful. So anyways, that wraps it up for the swatches. I I just, even swatching them again, just showing you guys, I'm just like, I really, really love these shades. I love the formula. I love the way they apply and blend, and I just think they're so, so beautiful. So I guess you guys can guess that my overall thoughts and opinions on this palette are really, really good. I really like it. And you guys know me, I'm not the type to ever say that you need a palette, you need a product, and you must get it. So I'm not gonna say that now, just so you know. But I will say that I really, really like this palette. And if you are looking for a palette in this color story, if you were wanting to pick up any of the Naked palettes, that would be the one I would recommend. I can confidently say that that is my favorite Naked palette. Not my favorite palette in general, but just of the Naked palettes, this one is my favorite. I think by far it is the best Naked palette that Urban Decay has come out with so far, and I'm very much so impressed. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And so it's a thumbs up from me for sure. And I just want to touch back again on the shade selection. I actually really like it. Again, I had to like kind of put aside any thoughts that I had concerning like a cherry palette or having reds in it. Aside from those thoughts that some of you guys might have had, I think it's a great palette. I find that it's very versatile. You look at it, you probably wouldn't think, oh, this is a really versatile palette, but I feel like the looks that I have gotten with it have been able to be pretty versatile, because we do have some of those deeper, rich, kind of plummier brown shades. You have some lighter mauve pinky shades, and then you even have some peachy shades in here, which was kind of a surprising factor for me. And then you also have some of those creamier, kind of like lighter shades, and the like kind of rosy gold shades. And I've been able to create some pretty versatile looks that go from being neutral, like everyday wearable, to a little bit more glam, to a little bit more smoky and evening, like nighttime appropriate kind of looks. I find that it's pretty versatile, and I just think it's a great like kind of everyday all around palette. So while it doesn't have those pops of colors, I mean, you really can't expect that from a Naked palette. So I mean, for what it is, I absolutely love it, and I would say I recommend it if you're looking for this type of palette, this kind of color story and all that kind of stuff. But now I'm at the point where I could just totally repeat myself, and I'm not going to do that. So with all that being said, that's it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing the collection, seeing the swatches, hearing my thoughts. I do hope that you found it helpful and informative if you have been considering purchasing any of the items in this collection. If you already purchased this palette or any of the items in the collection, please feel free to share your own thoughts and opinions in the comments. You could always help anyone else coming here looking for information, looking for opinions, and we can help each other do that. Additionally, I just want to give you guys a reminder of the giveaway. If you would like to win the highlighter and blush palette and the 3 Vice lipsticks, definitely check the description box for all the info, and be sure to come back, because as I post, I have a couple more videos kind of pertaining to this collection. I have this tutorial as well as my other video comparing this palette to the Backtalk palette. I will be adding more entries to the giveaway concerning those videos. So with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. I did take a peek out of it. I did of the with you the Naked blah. I gave them away. Ugh. Today I'm here to share with you my I decided that they would go so you'll get is the Naked but I want to let you know everything that's in the tutorial. I decided that I want to give them because so with all that